and family. Listen,
Y'all
we
did.
laughing and we grinning because we have already jumped into the conversation.
Sure.
He didn't even get to count in or welcome y'all. We were already starting the conversation, so we had to stop, pause, take a beat so that we could welcome y'all in tonight.
Hey guys, how
Welcome
y'all
in.
doing? Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, all that wonderful stuff. Hope family time was awesome during our absence, but we're glad to be back and we will be regular from now on. We'll be
Yes.
like Mick and Magnesia. We will be regular.
Like some good old prune
There
juice.
you go, get you going,
Come
girl.
on. Hi, Papa. I
Hey,
love you
little
so
girl.
much.
Love you much too. You all the way in LA. I'm all the way out here, but it's good to see my girl.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
Looking
we
like your beautiful
counted.
mama.
Oh,
Anyway,
thank you. Thank you,
anyway,
Papa. And
love
welcome in. We love
you. Yeah.
y'all. Get comfortable, grab a seat. We were talking about,
Can I name it?
yes.
A legacy of design or a legacy of disaster? That's what we're talking about.
Ooh,
You choose.
yeah.
And you have to determine from that where I came from does not determine where I go. Now go ahead and finish. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, Daddy, you already have busted onto the scene, so keep going.
Yeah, that it's something that I think happens to many of us as we grow older and we become seasoned in life. We begin to look back and reflect on all the decisions that we
Yeah.
made. Myself, number one, going into the military, the course that I took, leaving and being on my own since I've been in 12th grade. I moved out of my grandmother's house when I was a senior in high school. I
Mhm.
spent the last 6 months of my senior year living in my own apartment. I mean, my own room, my own space. And having been on my own for that long, and then having to had Tara, my firstborn, and having gone through that journey, not having the maturity, the understanding to make quality decisions. You find yourself making decisions based on what you don't want rather than what you
Yeah.
do want.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It doesn't mean that you don't love the person, but you know, I didn't want nobody raising my daughter
Mm.
because I had nobody raising me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? And that doesn't mean that I wasn't parented. I'm just saying my mother passed away and my dad's and our relationship had its difficulties when we were younger. So
Yeah.
having gone through that, the memory of the whole commitment to my relationship is based on what I didn't want from someone,
As opposed to what you do want.
what I do want. And
Yeah.
that's the paradigm that I wanted to shift in the minds of my kids. I did not want them to have a idea that my dad was a subpar father, a subpar provider, a subpar lover, understander, all of that. He was subpar in all of those areas. So I have to find someone that's subpar. It
Mm.
traps you into that mindset. A kid doesn't have a choice in what he sees. Parents have a choice in what they display.
Oh, well,
Now, what?
wait a minute, Dad. We got to park there for a minute. And not park there because I don't think that that needs to be explained,
It's
but
powerful.
that was a big statement.
It's powerful.
That was a big statement. Can you say that one more time? Do you remember what you said?
I said kids have no power over what they see, but parents have power over what they display. If a kid sees a rabbit in the window, it's a rabbit. It's up to the parents to say that rabbit has some diseases. He don't look quite right. But if you show the kid a rabbit and the rabbit is messed up, and you tell the kid that's a perfect rabbit.
That's right.
So when the kid shops a rabbit, what kind of rabbit he gonna look for?
One that looks like the diseased one that the parent told them was a perfect rabbit. You know, it's funny that you should mention that or that you're making this statement because Leela is my 10-year-old daughter.
and my popcorn.
She is Papa's
Yeah,
girl.
Papa.
This
That's right.
this
But
is
no,
it's a
that's the
whole
road dog.
situation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, But we were having a conversation the other day, and she was telling me just about some of the behaviors of some of her classmates. And she's in the fifth grade, she's 10 years old, and
Mhm.
I'm raising her right now, currently, as a single parent,
Right.
and have raised her as a single parent for 10 years.
Yeah.
Um, and I only make mention of that because I have been very methodical about what I show her and what I teach her.
Yes.
And I'm bringing this up not necessarily to pat myself on the back or give myself accolades, but she was asking me, well, why, mommy, why do kids do this and why do kids do that? And they're negative actions, negative behaviors to her, like
Hmm.
um, teasing other kids at school or bullying or
Hmm.
calling other kids out of their name,
Hmm.
disrespecting the teachers, saying
Right.
disrespectful things to the teachers. And she just like, Mom, like, I don't understand why that happens. And I was explaining to her, well, baby, you wouldn't understand that because I've never shown you or taught you that that is acceptable behavior. But you
Hmm.
have to understand that these kids that display these behaviors at school, they think it's okay because that's what they see at home.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So even if I was the kind of parent who would tell her, don't disrespect your teachers, don't disrespect the other students. If I, as a parent, as a single mom, even as a married mom, disrespect people that are around me, I'm disrespectful to my parents, I'm disrespectful to the people in the store, I'm disrespectful to kids that are younger than me, anybody that I come in contact with, even if I tell her that's wrong behavior, if she sees
Hmm.
me do it, she's
Hmm.
going to think it's acceptable behavior. And it
Hmm.
goes back to your story about parents having the choice of what they display in front of their kids because kids don't have a choice of whatever is displayed in
I
front of them.
see.
They're subject to it,
They
right?
don't have the ability to discern. You as a kid, you don't have the discern, you don't have the ability to discern where daddy's tired now or daddy's going through financially. So therefore I cannot do this, I can't get this. That
Yeah.
was never, and it was my goal to not have that display. It was mom's and I go not to give you that display. It's
Yeah.
not that it didn't happen, it was just never displayed.
Yeah.
And one of the things about I was going to say something, but I lost my thought. But you go ahead and finish. I didn't.
What you said brought up that conversation because I just had that conversation with her. And I think that sometimes we can get lost in the responsibility, in the weight of raising and rearing our kids, that we can give ourselves over to a moment of anger or a moment of frustration or a
Very
moment
much so.
of, you know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not coming down on anybody because Lord knows I'm not perfect and it's not about perfection. But
Mm-hmm.
I do think that it is imperative that we are mindful that we can teach our kids certain things,
Yes, we
but
can.
some things are taught, more things are caught. Are caught. That's what you used to
Everything.
always say. And I,
Life is caught better than taught.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
agree.
yeah,
Along that same line, one of the things as a parent, and you being a parent yourself, but having been a parent for the last 40 years or so, one of the things I learned about kids is kids take snapshots. We as people, we take snapshots. We don't remember everything in our life. We just remember what impressed us.
those impressions, right?
Yeah. Once you're impressed by something, whether it be something that hurt you or something that helped you, you take a snapshot of it and you develop it in the dark room of your life so that it becomes the image of who you are. Then you ask yourself, why can't I? Why can't I do this? Why can't I do this? Well, you got the wrong snapshot and you've developed the image in a dark place. And it wasn't the proper image because you took the wrong picture. As a kid, I don't remember everything that happened to me, but I have snapshots of 4 events.
Yes.
And those 4 events link me to life because all of those events, whether they hurt me, helped me, changed me, or challenged me, they made a difference in my life. But I don't remember everything. And as a parent, we have to remember kids don't remember everything.
Yeah.
They just have snapshots. You have snapshots of your memory of my time. You have some good pictures and you have some not so big,
Yeah.
not so good
Yeah.
pictures. It's a part of life. I think it's a part of life, but as believers, and you and I embrace Yeshua, uh, it's imperative that we understand that there is a need to dissect those events that you have snapshots of
Yes.
because as I always say, and what we always say together is what we don't defeat, we're destined to repeat.
Repeat.
And I have lived long enough to know that I've repeated a lot of things too many times to be at my age and be at the latter part of my existence to continue to repeat the same mistakes, to continue. Lunacy is doing the same thing, but expecting different results. So there is a lunacy to your snapshot if you don't rearrange the photo. That's why it's so important when you read the scriptures that you understand image.
Oh my goodness.
Because when you talk about receiving Christ, you're talking about changing your image. You remember the encounter with Nicodemus? He said, you got to be born again. And what we don't realize is that the process of regeneration or regening is a long process.
Yeah.
It's not quick.
Yeah.
The genetic makeup, the genetic development of the human species has been a long process.
Yeah.
But we think born again is overnight.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And again, it's again them snapshots. I got snapshots. I got images in my mind. And every image has no significance unless the person in the image had an impact on the life of the individual who sees it. You know what I'm saying? So
Absolutely. You're
if
talking.
we don't conquer those things, they become a hindrance to our relationship, especially as people of color, we don't have the luxury of reaching back to our roots.
Right. Yes.
The problem we have in America is our roots are slavery, and those are not roots.
Those are snapshots from our ancestors that have been developed in the shadows,
Mm-hmm.
still reside in our genealogy.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
And it shows in our display.
Yeah.
We compromise for money because we think money will make us equal to those that we are superior to.
Oh my God, today. Now you getting to the
We
nitty
got, and I
gritty.
don't say superior in the sense that we're superior in a moral sense. I think we're all equal in a moral sense, but I would have to give some significance of superior to those that produce others. Like, for example, your mom is not a different woman than you. You're just as much a woman as anybody. You're just as much a woman as she is. But I give deference to her.
Absolutely.
You give deference to her.
Absolutely.
Even when she's not right, you give deference to her because you came through her.
Yes.
The problem in the world is that we have idolatry because they don't defer to the image that gave birth to them.
My God.
That's what makes racism so idiotic and crazy. And it has to be based in the greatest amount of fear.
Daddy, you just went.
What is it, babe? What is it?
You just went so deep.
I'm sorry.
You just went so far, my guy.
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
It's in the bloodline.
Yeah.
The sin, the thing that Yeshua came was the significance of the shedding of blood was to abate the bloodline that had infested Israel. And the bloodline is the compromise that we make in order to feel like we're equal to someone that we're actually superior to. So many things we do. We go against our own value system. We go against our own people in order to fit into a narrative that's been written because we have bad snapshots.
Bad snapshots, bad impression, or impressions that we haven't healed, impressions that we haven't examined to understand their effects on our lives and how we show up in the world. Because where we started was you were talking about in our characteristics and how we show up in the world and how we show up in relationships and how it's our choice to heal those places and those spaces, to examine those snapshots, to examine those indelible impressions and determine whether or not if that impression is a positive, a good impression or a negative impression and how it affects how we relate to others.
Yeah. I think in that, I want to make a point there because so many of us, and I say us because it's the religious experience of us of African descent in America, so many of us believe and have a cognitive dissonance about what it means to have a relationship with Yeshua.
Yeah.
We have been taught to some great extent, and even I would have to say that even in my time past, in my ignorance, I may have promulgated the same fallacy, is that I can be perfect in my relationship with God, but flawed in my relationship to man. I don't know how to reconcile hating my dad for what he did, hating my mom, hating my brother, hating my sister, hating white people, hating black people, hating Mexican people, or hating anyone, and then attaching that to a system of my religious or my moral character, and then making that okay, and then passing that same moral impression upon my kids. So what do? We create a generation of godless individuals who are religious but godless.
Yeah, how can we say God is love and we follow God and we have a
Mm-hmm.
relationship with God and we commune with God and we're a Christian,
Mm-hmm.
but we hate
Mm-hmm.
this man or that color man or that
Mm-hmm.
race or that. How?
How do you have a Christian flag on one side and a rebel flag on the other? How do you burn a cross and wear a cross and then worship at a cross?
My God.
Help, help me understand the
My God.
significance of what we deem as religious understanding. Now, the way I'm talking now, it becomes difficult to talk this way on Sunday morning because the militancy against this teaching is not so much people of white people because they don't pay me any attention. They're not listening to me. I learned something uh, very early in my life. Is a great friend of mine was my pastor at the time. I was in covenant relationship with this gentleman. Great guy, I love him. Wonderful experience in his life. He said, Pastor Eric, one of the mistakes that people of color or people of African descent make is that you guys think that we talk about you guys. We don't talk about you guys. You're irrelevant.
Mm.
But seemingly in our lives, they are the topic. And to some degree, it's reasonably understood
Mm-hmm.
because they have fed us our prosperity and given it in limited quantities so that they can show a few have made it, but the large majority and the masses of us are really suffering and fighting through systemic legacy broken
Yeah.
and no association with where we're from and who we are and our identity and the culture in which we came out of. Will we go back to it? No, but we would like to know it anyway. Now, you take that and you put it in the family, and
Yes.
you have systemic problems in the family. You have abuse in the family. You have child abandonment, where dads don't take care of their babies. You have promiscuous moms where they have a number of babies. They have babies for the purpose of economics and all of that. So there's a lot of confluent things that are going on as it relates to the family. But if you're going to truly have an impact in your family spiritually and hope to see your family in the New Jerusalem. I don't talk about heaven because it's a passage, it's not a place.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, let's keep going. Anyway, that's going to go.
Yeah, that's you go. You got to
The,
give the people something they can hold on to. There, you take them all out in the outer space. They on Mars and Neptune and
well,
Venus.
listen, guys, I apologize if what it sounds like I'm going too deep. But what I really want you guys to understand is that there is no surface solution to legacy. The solution that you may have may hurt you. It may have to make you change. It may make you have to change a long-standing way of talking to your daughters, talking to your sons, relating to your husband or your man as he disciplines children. It may take a whole lot of things. It may take you humbling yourself as a man and recognizing how you speak to your daughter, how you speak to your wife, or how you treat women. So this is not an easy fix. You can't go to church one night, somebody lay hands on you, and all of a sudden you have gotten rid of all of your photographs. No, you have to
Those
system.
indelible impressions that
Yes,
have been made on you since you got here, right?
yeah.
Sir.
you at this age, I often look at myself and say to myself, first of all, I'm not ashamed to say I'm proud of me. I don't have a lot of
Good.
pride in me, but I'm proud of me.
Absolutely.
Because I wonder what you guys would look like if I didn't rectify the picture. What would your mom be if I didn't rectify the picture? Because, and we don't,
Hmm.
it's good to talk about it in past terms, but what I really want to significantly impact are those of you that have kids now.
Yes.
Because the kids that are, the kid that I'm talking to and having conversation with now was once your little girl,
Yeah.
was once your little boy, man, woman, fixed in pictures.
How does one know that their indelible impression, their photo, their picture is distorted?
Because you make decisions on about your future based on your hurt.
How does one know that they're making a decision based on their hurt?
When you go into a relationship saying what you don't want, and you go into a relationship what you want instead of what you bring.
Oh, Papa, I love you so much.
I appreciate
You's a bad man jammer.
it. Because the kids that are, the kid that I'm talking to and having conversation with now was once your little girl,
Yeah.
was once your little boy, man, woman, fixed in pictures.
How does one know that their indelible impression, their photo, their picture is distorted?
Because you make decisions on about your future based on your hurt.
How does one know that they're making a decision based on their hurt?
When you go into a relationship saying what you don't want, and you go into a relationship what you want instead of what you bring.
Oh, Papa, I love you so much.
I appreciate
You's a bad man jammer. Oh,
it.
y'all don't understand how much I love my daddy.
Yeah,
So I'm the girl that appreciates whatever somebody can bring to the table, as long as they bring something, even if it's just a smile, right? A good
yeah,
spirit, good
yeah.
conversation. Maybe they don't even have much to talk about. But what I love about my papa, and he has always been this man, is I can pretty much ask him anything and he gonna have an answer. But
I,
if he does not know, or if he doesn't have an,
I say I don't know.
or if it's not clear, he gonna say, well, you know what? I'm not even going. I don't know. Let me do some research on it and I'll let you know. I'll get back to you.
That's
But
it.
I just love it when the wisdom from you flows. And I know it comes from not just experience, but from researching and information and application and research and information and application and research and
Mm-hmm.
information and application. And that's so admirable to me because you could settle, right? Like you could say, well, I'm good. I've raised four successful kids. I have a beautiful family. My wife and I are so happily married, and I'm good. But you have this thirst for, this hunger for knowledge. And I know a lot of it is your calling, but I also know that a lot of it is just your heart and wanting to be the best Eric that
Mm-hmm.
you can be. And I just love that about you. You know, if I
You
think it
could.
and it's good, I'm gonna say
You
it.
could. Well, I think my reward has never been material. When you've had all the stuff,
Yeah.
experienced all the stuff,
Yeah.
and have the opportunity to get more of the stuff, but choose to stay where you are, where you're comfortable and comforted and available to your family and available to your friends, and it is able to live life instead of survive moments.
Oof. That's a whole nother conversation that I hope we can have and share just about the time in your life where you reached um, an impasse, a fork in the road, where you had to make a very serious decision about how you wanted to move forward.
What can
And
I say to you, sweetheart? That's very important that you asked me that. But
mm,
in life,
mm,
there's a lot of forks.
there are, yeah.
I think the
I think, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to
no,
cut you
no,
off.
no, you
I
didn't cut me
think,
off. Go right
I
ahead.
think it was so significant to me, um, because it did changed the trajectory of the whole family and how
Mm-hmm.
we moved forward in a good way.
Mm-hmm. Almost definitely. I don't know if
In
we
my
would have
opinion, but
tried had I decided that my soul was worth money and wealth, I would have sold out.
and that's why I want to have the conversation.
And then had I known that my family and its unity depended on me selling out,
Mm,
it might have been different. But I knew that even going through that, I had my family's love, I had my daughter's respect, and I had my wife's admiration. And I had those that loved me, still followed me, embraced me, and saw me as somewhat of an example in their lives. So I stopped focusing on what wasn't, and I started focusing on what is.
which is so very important.
And when I start focusing on what is, I realized that what is should have always been.
That's a whole nother conversation. Oh my goodness. Wonderful. I promise y'all, we have to circle back to that conversation
Gotcha.
at a later date. But I want to go back to indelible impressions,
Yes.
because I feel like there might be a few more nuggets of truth that you can share.
Okay.
And I think the last question I asked you is, how does one know if their indelible impression, their photo, their picture that has come from their past is negative?
I don't want to
Where
cut you.
where we landed was, it's okay. Where we landed was, if you are choosing or making decisions based on what you don't want, you know that your indelible impressions, your photographs, your pictures, your references are negative.
Mm-hmm. Right. And then when you establish what you don't want, you pick people
Yeah.
who have no expectation of you. So you can't really pick an individual as a woman or a man that is beneficial to you and your kids, if you have kids, to you in your life, unless you can define what you bring. And the reason that's so important, that in relationship, that individuals who plan to have friendship, uh, uh,
Mhm.
romantic relationship, that define what they bring to the relationship. Why are you saying that, Dad? Why is that so important? Because it creates covenant.
Mhm.
I can't hold you to what I want, but I can hold you to what you said.
Yes, sir.
We don't ask those questions when we're in love. And we don't have the teaching and the maturity to understand that love is an emotion. Love is not a propeller, nor is it an engine.
Yeah.
It idles well in the car, but it don't move the car. The way love works is it works better with order. And when there is no understanding of expectation, then disappointment is inevitable.
It's inevitable.
And the best way to keep
It's a
you and me, if we're in a relationship, if I say, okay, this is what I bring back. I don't like this. This is what I like. This is what I want. This is what I'm building in my life. This is the future I want to have. This is where I want to live. This is all the things. And this is what I'm going to offer you. I offer you my patience. I offer you my kindness. I can't always say that I'm going to say the right thing, but when you tell me I say the wrong thing, baby, I'm going to come to you and tell you I'm sorry. Because I never want you to ever be hurt by me. I want us to ride to success together. Now, once I tell you that, if I leave you with that, then you're going to be a small brat.
very good.
Because I have not given you anything to be accountable to me for.
What
And if
I
you're not accountable to
yeah,
me, you won't be submitted to me. And the Bible says in a relationship, we should submit one to another.
unto another.
And how can I submit to you when you've given me no promises? And that happens a lot of times when we're trying to win the affections of the opposite sex. We become enamored by the sex life, by the car life, by the money life, by the booty life, by whatever it is. We become enamored by that. And we forget all the important things that make a relationship. None of that makes a relationship work. What makes a relationship work is that there's common goal, there's common desire, and there's an understood covenant of promise that is initiated before the relationship starts.
Yeah.
Get into a relationship and you start to think, you never made me any promises. I made you all the promises. What the hell? What the hell? And I would venture to say, if you look at a lot of relationships that are having issues and problems, it goes back to that.
Hmm.
Either
Hmm.
she was so in love with him,
Hmm.
or he was so in love with her, or they were so in lust with one another that they forgot to make promises and they got married. And he didn't know she was going to act like that. And he didn't know because we didn't talk. You
So when
know?
those covenants are made, when those promises are made, when the conversations are had, and those words have been exchanged, and there is seemingly an understanding,
Mm-hmm.
but those promises, covenants are violated. And
Okay.
not, I'm not talking about, well, you expect perfection in this
Right.
person
I got
hit
you.
every bullet. I'm not
I
talking
got you.
about that, but
You're
I'm
talking about the
saying
principle. You're talking about the thread, the fabric of it. Yeah, I understand what you're
when
saying.
that's violated, what say you about that kind of situation?
First of all, I have a firm saying in my life, and I've always believed that. Believe what people show you.
Yeah.
One of the blessings of my life is that I believe what people show me because I've met some extremely kind and generous individuals who love me and still to this day love me. And I've also met some people who had nefarious thoughts and ways about me. And I overlooked a lot of things.
Sweet doggy.
I overlooked that they were not this or they were not that. I overlooked all of that and continued in the relationship. Now, the way of the transgressor is hard. We think of that in terms of how we transgress against God, but it also can become difficult when you are trying to engage a person on a level that they don't want with you.
Or even a level that they're just not on. And it's not about greater, it's
No,
about alignment, right? Like they're just not even aligned in a way to be able to relate to you in that way because it's not what they subscribe to. Like it's
right. Well, they don't make promises. Most people that don't listen, Nick, most people who don't want proper alignment, they will verbalize promises, but they don't have the bone structure to keep them.
okay, because I was gonna say, I mean, there there
You understand?
are some people who make promises and don't keep them. So
But they don't. But those same men, if you think about it, you knew they weren't going to keep it before you. Just your gut spiritual understanding, and even the minimal amount of time that you have spent with those individuals, those men, you kind of knew that they were flaky in their commitment because their conversation was them. When I talk about me all the time, I don't want you to know about me. I don't want you to get to know me. If I tell you about me, I don't want you to get to know me because I tell you enough so you don't ask no questions.
yeah,
If you ask no questions, I make no commitment. If I make no commitment, we have no relationship. A real relationship.
yeah.
Now Alika, tell me about yourself. What do you think about this? What are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on this? That's a real relationship. And until you meet someone that understands the investment that is necessary to make a relationship with someone on the level, as we would say, which we don't believe in levels, but levels of where you are, you will know it immediately because they'll have more questions about you than they will answers about themselves.
So I'm glad that you brought that up because there is something that I kind of want to share just in terms of indelible impressions
Mm-hmm.
and the photos of my life, right? So mom and I were having a conversation the last time I was at the house, and I
Right.
was telling her how I've reached a place in my life, and it's been a little while now that I've been here, but I reached a place in my life where I understood that there was a certain liability that came with being born into a first family.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't, it's not a, as much as I can acknowledge that when you're born into a situation where you're the first family and your family is in a position of giving, right? Like I've never known a life of not sharing you and mom. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know a life where I haven't had to share you.
Mm-hmm.
There is a natural inclination that I have always had to give. to just because that's what I was born into, right? That coupled with the fact that I know that I'm an empath. I'm the kind of person who can feel what someone else is feeling. If someone's
Mm-hmm.
sad, I want to bring energy. I want to cheer them up. I want to love on them. I want to encourage them. I want to, that's part of the calling on my life, or that's one of the gifts that the creator has given me. And
Mm-hmm.
so, one of the photos, one of the indelible impressions that I really needed to examine in my life is the understanding that I'm not meant to go into every situation and sacrifice. I'm not meant to go into every situation automatically assuming the role of I'm gonna I'm gonna sacrifice. I'm gonna be forgiving. I'm gonna wait. I'm going to,
Mm-hmm.
for the sake of, see the good in you. See the I fully understand, accept, acknowledge the need to set boundaries, also the need to believe you win, you show me who you are, not who you tell me you are,
Mm-hmm.
who you show me you are. And I really just wanted to mark that because when you were saying that to me, like you knew instinctively.
Mm-hmm.
You knew instinctively when you had conversations with some of these dudes, even though they may have made all the promises in the world, there was something in you that gave you an indication. The truth of the matter is that yes. But when you're born into to a situation where all you really know is giving, it's kind of like, yeah, but everybody has flaws. Everybody, you don't something doesn't click to let you know that um this person is not going to live up to their own word. This person is going to violate their own word,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think that enough experiences, I think that enough self-examination, heart examination, and reviewing my indelible impressions has brought me to a place of understanding where I understand what you're saying when you say when you have these conversations and the talks are being had and the promises are being made, the covenants are being made, they sound a certain way, right? It's
But you know what? You see it before they say it.
I do.
Nobody has to tell you.
I do, Papa.
There are people who know your dad.
Mm-hmm.
They've never met your dad, but they know your dad.
Mm-hmm.
What do they say about me? And I'm not saying you to say it, but I'm just simply saying there are individuals that we both know that we share as family, as friends. Ed Moore. I
Yeah.
mean, we can go down the list. The patterns that men display, even with being a member of a church and being a part of the pastor's family, the people that have come and gone, and
Yeah.
then look at the people that have stayed. The ones that were stayed was the ones that never came up and made a commitment, but they just stayed. And when they did say it, they did it. Elder Lynette,
Yeah.
we with you, Apostle.
Yeah.
We, you know, the things that we've gone through in ministry, that I knew those people before they did it, what they was gonna do. It ain't like you don't know the liabilities of your life. I think sometimes we become so enamored by what we want that we make
That's true.
ourselves see what
That's
they are
true.
not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you, and then, you know, it's not even that. Sometimes, Lika, you can become so focused on the relationship and the value you have in the relationship that you ignore a lot of signs that tell you that the relationship is not working.
Well, yeah.
And you can become so busy working on the relationship that after you have worked and you've accomplished what you think you would accomplish as far as the life is concerned, and you look around and you realize what was the reward?
Yeah.
I'm with this man, I'm with this woman, but I don't even like her. And she don't even like me. So what I will tell you why. There were no promises made.
Mm-hmm.
And when one person makes a promise and the other one doesn't, the person who doesn't make the promise makes sure that the ones that did keeps it.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been in relationships and you had relationships, not a lot of them, but the ones that you've had. And you've been very committed to your relationships. And you've been very committed to the success of the individual in the relationship you were with. And I'm sure you've said things to support the individual that you were with, that given the circumstances, you were not able to fulfill that commitment to support them because of the circumstances. And
Hmm.
they came back and said, you said it.
Hmm.
Why? Because you made promises.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
that's why the Bible is so resolute when it says the promises of God are yea.
Hmm.
He ain't like us. We make promises we never intend to keep so we can have the person that we're looking at. But when you are really about that, you'll see it and he don't have to say it. And because he's it, he'll want to know what you got to complement it.
For sure.
And he's going to ask questions.
For sure.
Brothers, men, sisterins, young people, single people, if you ever want a good man, don't tell him everything about yourself. If you want him, ask him questions about him. Brothers, if you want that woman, don't tell her about your qualifications. Tell her what you're going to bring to make her life better. And then ask her, how can you balance me?
I
Because if
like
I do that, you're going to make me off balance. So give me something to balance.
how can you balance me? What do you bring to the table that balances? Yeah, I like that question.
You understand what I'm saying?
I
The
do.
Bible says a false weight is an abomination. You know
Mm,
what a false weight is? It's that people that look like they're bringing, they're carrying their weight, but they really
yeah.
because somebody else is making them look good. Oh,
Yeah.
he's a good
While
husband.
you're draining the other person and making them sick.
We all know. Oh, he's a great husband, but we know she's financing the whole situation. We know oh, he's a great husband. Oh, he's a great. Come on now. Oh, he's that, she's that. So again, relationship. And I can share so much and teach so much. I wish I could do a class teaching just single women on relationship.
Yeah. We need
Simply
to
because
go.
you gotta you gotta make business decisions in relationship.
Yeah. Yep.
And when I say business, follow me on this. Not business is more the analytical money's entire that has to do with business. But business decision in the sense of what you're gonna be busy doing.
Data-based decision. That's what you mean. Yeah.
Do you compliment me?
Hmm.
Does our days complement one another? Does our evenings complement one another? Do we have the same energy in the relationship? Now, unfortunately, I didn't learn this until late.
And you
Unfortunately,
and
boy, I
mom have
learned
done a
it.
fine job just kind of figuring it out as you go. Just
You ain't got nobody to teach you. You better look to the Holy Spirit, or you better find the image of His teacher through people you encounter.
yeah.
The best teacher in my life have been the humans that He sent to my life. The greatest lessons I've learned have been those that have hurt me, not those that have helped.
Yikes.
But I've become a better helper because of the hurt.
The greatest teachers in my life,
I've
ooh,
been my hers.
have not been the ones that have helped me, but have been the ones that have hurt me. My God, tonight.
So that I could love the ones that helped me deeper.
Yeah. That only works, though, if you are reviewing those indelible impressions.
Have to. And being honest about it.
Because if you are not reviewing the indelible impressions of your life and you are living this life and you are in these relationships with people, you are bound to get hurt. You are bound to be wounded because that is human relationship. It to be offended, to be in relationship is to be offended, right? But if you're not constantly reviewing
Mm-hmm.
those photographs of your life and determining what you need to be healed from, what you need to excavate and work on and improve, where the origin of your decisions, your decision making is. That's a big part too.
What's the basis of it?
You're going to take those offenses and think that it is rightful ammunition for you mistreating other people.
Hmm.
Oh, well, so and so hurt me 15 years ago, so that's why I don't never, yeah, I don't really open up in relationships. I don't really give my heart to people no more because the last time I gave my heart to someone, they broke it.
Hmm.
As opposed to, I probably shouldn't have given my heart to that person. Let
Well,
me just let me figure out why I gave my heart to a person that would be capable of breaking it.
here
Or
is here is the thing. Yeah, that's it. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, go, Papa.
Here's the thing about it is, Elika, I've been married to your mom for over 40 years. Nobody can see my life like her.
Hmm.
So there is not one correction she brings me that I reject.
That's not worth considering.
But
And
I don't like it every
oh
time.
yeah,
But I every time she comes,
that's good, Papa.
never say I'm not guilty. Because it is unreasonable to think that you can be married to someone for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 20 years, and they make an observation about you that you say, I'm not guilty.
That is unreasonable.
And if you do that, how close are you to the Holy Spirit?
Yeah. Y'all definitely ain't holding hands.
Because you're living with someone who bears his image
Yeah,
and sees you clearly, bears his image
yeah,
and sees you clearly. Your mom bears his image
yeah,
and sees me clearly.
yeah.
For whatever motives, you're not dealing with the person, you're dealing with you. That's a lot of times when it comes to spiritual growth. We move the ability to grow outside of ourselves. When there is a blame, you can't grow. When there's a fault, you can't grow. You're just trapped in the fact that it ain't my fault. I don't get it. I don't get it. Not when we have a Savior that never said it.
Oh my goodness.
Though he was treated
Oh my
phenomenal.
goodness.
And at the very least, I'm minimally guilty of what she said, even if not maximum. And I ask God to show me my hidden places, my dark places, and he reveals it through somebody who lives with me
Oh, it
24.
happens. Yeah.
But I want to fuss. I think you're just judging me. I don't get. First of all, if you've been married for a long time, you shouldn't be having no hour, 2 hour discussions about what he said and what she did, or what he did or what she didn't. You're stupid. I'm sorry. Excuse me. You're
Maybe,
sick. I'm sorry.
maybe it's just the first 30 minutes y'all talking
Well,
about
I don't
issue,
mean
and
it.
then
I probably
the
shouldn't
hour
say
and a
that.
half after that, y'all
Can
just
I
loving
say
on
that?
each other.
You know what? I forgot that I was on the air. I thought we was. I got caught up. Please, guys, I don't mean that literally. What I mean by that, you're in a stupor. You're in a standstill
But you
situation.
mean 2 hours of nonstop back and forth, defending your position, arguing,
I don't do
and
it.
getting nowhere.
I don't. If
Right.
I come to you and I say you offended me, and you go into explanation, I'll say that's okay. I'm good. I'm good. The Lord has already healed me because I do. I don't have time. Now, if you offend me and I tell you offend me and you said I apologize, but would you please give me an explanation because I don't want to do it again. But if you tell me I didn't do it and you did it because you felt like this, because the moon was in the left, or because the sun was shining, because it was hot, or because you hurt your leg 7 years ago,
Because it was a blood moon.
in a multitude of words, sin
Yeah.
lives and breathes.
Oh man.
That's why an
Man,
apology is direct. Forgive me, Elika.
I love that.
I apologize for what I did. Now, because I want to grow, can you please explain to me how I might do it differently so we don't have to deal with that anymore?
People that have a hard time saying I'm sorry and really asking for forgiveness.
Because they're sorry. They're sorry because they don't ask for them. Sorry because they're sorry.
They
You
have
got
a
to be
hard time
sorry.
saying sorry because they
But
saw
they sorry people, you know. First of
it's a
all,
lack of self-confidence, right? It's a lack of knowing oneself. It's a fear-based lack.
somewhere along the line, being wrong brought punishment.
And they're in their indelible
The
impressions.
snapshot.
It's still living there, breathing there, doing a whole dance, hammer time in their mind, and they just can't be wrong. Yikes. That's crazy. No judgment, but that's crazy. And it's crazy just because no one is God, right?
Right,
No one can claim, I'm God.
right,
So if you do something wrong to me, you are terrible and awful. Everybody's doing wrong all day long. We human, we make mistakes.
right.
And so if I make a mistake, what is it for me just to say, I messed up? I'm sorry.
Well, I think a lot of times people really don't want to align their life with the principles of Yeshua. They really want to align themselves in a place where they're popular with people.
Because you're
It's
gonna,
more it's more gratifying to be popular than it is to be powerful. It Popularity brings immediate gratification. Let me give you an example of what I'm saying. On the same subject, I don't like to be wrong because wrong people are not popular. Wrong people are not powerful. And the snapshot I have, my daddy was never wrong. My mama was never wrong. And my daddy talked about my mama when she left. My mama talked about. So my snapshot of right and wrong is skewed to
hmm,
the nth degree, so that I can even. I have never in my life understood the scripture that says that the devil is subtle.
listen, listen, cunning,
So
and so
he, Lika, you don't even know it's him unless you're in the spirit. And in the spirit, let me explain that. You ain't ooh, you're in the spirit in that you're processing information for your own growth. That's spiritual. You're processing information. That's spiritual. Spirituality is not my ability to discern that you're not right or wrong. That is, come on, guys. Stop listening to them smoky eyed folks telling you lies. This is not true. This is what I'm saying. Spirituality is when I look at you and I say to myself, she hurt my feelings. But what experience that paradigms the images of my life that I've had to go through, where I've had to respond to someone like she did? What's going on with her?
yeah,
That's true being believers. That's intercessory. That's standing in the gap. We always got intercessory prayer, but they don't stand in the gap for nobody.
not in
So
any moment that really counts when
true
someone,
intercessory prayer is my lifestyle, not
yeah,
my prayer style.
yeah,
It's when I intercede and say to you, listen, I know how you're coming at me. In the case of myself, it's my wife. In the case of myself, it's my family. In the case of others, it might be you or other people that are exercising the grace to allow me to grow, that there's simultaneous growth. Two are better than one.
oh,
You mad and I'm growing. That makes us better. You're upset, but I'm glowing. That makes us better. And it realigns me and refocuses me. Because as humans, we have a tendency to sometimes we have faith in God, but we really just really want people. We just want to be liked and we want to be loved and all that. That's not to say that's not faith in God, but we say we have faith in God, but we don't, how do I say, challenge broken images in our place. We protect.
yeah,
And
oh,
one of the things, and I'll say this, I was sharing with your mom the other day. I said, one of the most unfair things for a wife to do or a husband to do is to have one another as their own source of correction and nobody else.
nobody else, yeah, yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
If you marry a man and you're the only one, he say he runs the company and he's the president and he
mm.
goes to church, but he's the finance man of the church. So the pastor don't make him come. Nobody but your daddy. But that's a whole different thing. But I'm
I
using
don't
you as
even,
a
I don't, that, I don't even think that's possible though, Papa. I don't see a man, and I don't mean to venture off, but I don't see a man
male. We'll say male for right now.
male
Yeah.
being able to be in a relationship and receive correction only from his wife, but not receive correction from any place else. Like I don't see how that would even be possible.
There are relationships like that, believe it or not, on both sides. where you become so sequestered. You figure
Yes.
I,
Okay.
I have an individual that I play softball with. I love him dearly. I became friends with him. He has no friends. And he told me I have no friends. He said, "The only friend I got is my wife." I said, "What's going on, man?" He said, "I suffer from some kind of personality disorder, so he's not able to greet and
Yeah.
talk to people." But he was amazed that he could come and talk to me and that we would carry on. And from now on, now, every time I see him, he wants to have conversation and all of that.
Yeah.
And in talking with him, and he was sharing with me about a scenario in his relationship, and me trying to correct him was difficult because him and his
I,
wife live a sequestered, they
oh,
live a sequestered life. The hardest thing about relate, one thing I would always encourage married couples, young married couples, to keep relationships with people outside.
for sure.
Every woman that's married needs to have some married girlfriends so that
Married.
she can know her situation ain't that bad, or relational order. You understand what I'm saying?
I do
What
the sounding boards because you can't, if you're a married woman, you can't soundboard off of a single woman because she's
I
not
would,
going to understand
you know,
all of the nuances that occur and happen within a marriage. It's
right?
different from dating. It's different. I've been married.
You can
It's
talk. You can talk to her about being a woman, but you can't talk to her about being a wife. You
you can,
can't talk to her about being a mom. You can talk to me about it, but you can't talk to me about being a wife. Because being a wife is a maintenance 24 hours a day. You got a boyfriend.
it's a full experience.
You got to live
And
in. You got to live in sex machine. But I got a husband,
yeah,
and that's a whole different thing. Spiritually and legally, that's a different thing.
yeah.
But again, the danger again is when you don't have when a man doesn't have friends, he's going to have problems in his relationship. He's got to have relationships. Most of the men that I know who go to work, come home, and don't have friends, their wives feel neglected. Because what keeps me mindful of not neglecting my wife is hanging out with some of these guys and listening to what they say and watching how women act and watching. It makes me go home and say, "My God, I thank God." Now, if I didn't have that paradigm, if all I saw was what she did, if all my experience was what she said, then my ability to be corrected will be very different.
Yeah. And that goes, like you said, it's both ways.
Yeah,
It's on the man's side and
you know what? We weren't supposed to go this long, but
we
we're still.
weren't, but
But
it's been
it's
good,
also,
kind of ventured off into another conversation, but it still goes back to indelible impressions,
yes,
right?
yes,
And how those have such an impact on our psyches, on our lives, on how we show up in life and in relationships, and
amen.
they are worth reviewing over and over and over and over again to make sure that we are healing the spaces and places in our lives that might require healing, even things that we think are perfectly fine.
Right.
It's still worth reviewing. And not that we're um causing upheaval to the past. It's not
No.
about that as much as it's the willingness to face what has negatively influenced us and what might continuously uh negatively influence us even in present day,
Yeah.
because if it's not what's like you say, what we don't defeat, we're destined to repeat.
We end up back in the same place. But we don't have to do that though. We can make a change.
Yeah.
Change is one of the things I think is most difficult about change. It's not so much the biological, physical, or even sometimes the mental. It's the adjusting to the fact that you were wronged and that in your paradigm, you were right. In your hurt, in your snapshot,
Mm,
it was the right picture. You didn't misunderstand the snapshot. It was
mm.
right. But then you choose to change that narrative. My mother being killed, I'm right. That was wrong. It was, you know what I'm saying?
You're
Pain.
right about the pain. You're right to experience pain. You're right that it was a tragedy. You're right that it was wrong that it happened. You're right that it was a terrible thing that shouldn't happen
There
to
you go.
anybody. All of those things are true. They can be proven to be true, and it is natural to assume that you would be affected by that occurrence. But
Right. What
But
the enemy meant to destroy me. That means to break me into little pieces so that I will look like I have peace, but I actually have a mosaic, broken pieces of my past. I'm complete, but I'm not whole. I got all the pieces, but they're not together. And that's what happens in our lives when we have what I think is an incomplete picture of life.
yeah,
And that incomplete picture of life comes from the fact that we extract the pain from the event, but we don't design the purpose as a result of
that's
the.
so good. So
He
when we're
was wrong.
talking about reviewing indelible impressions, and I
Yeah,
please don't lose your train of thought. Reviewing indelible impressions, it's not enough just to extract the pain.
right,
After you've extracted the pain, that is rightfully yours.
right,
It's rightfully yours to
right,
process.
right.
You must then assign purpose to that pain. Why did this happen in my life? What purpose can I assign to this pain as a result of this occurrence in my life? What is it for me to see? What is it for me to grow from and then be able to give to others as a result of what I've experienced in my life? Yeah?
Yes. And in
Okay.
all three of that, here's the considerations you're going to have. How mature was I? Did
Yeah.
I have the significant amount? Did I have this? Did I have the sufficient amount of information to make the decision? Once making the decision, was all the things that were to make this decision successful, was it considered? And in most cases, no.
Yeah.
Because most of the time when we're young and we are testosterone, estrogen driven,
Yeah.
we're driven by not just the physical side. We're driven by the endorphins of adulthood, the endorphins of being independent, and all of those, and having that man or having that woman or having that
Mhm.
family. That most of what we need to do to ensure the success of it has nothing to do with what's happening today. It has to do with how we deal with the memories of yesterday. Why, why do you think Jesus told his disciples, don't ever go away, always remember? That's what communion is all about. It's not remembering his death. What it's remembering is remembering his life. And the death of significance is this is what life will give you if you do God's will. It may be painful, it may be hurtful, and you may be rejected. We're just following his paradigm. Sound like my life, don't it?
Yeah.
But if you'll go through it, and there will be times in life you will disappear for 3 days. But if you'll just believe, you'll come through on the other side. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death.
Yeah.
It's life cycles. You're not gonna get out of the cycle. You're gonna go through it at 60, you're gonna go through it at 6, you're gonna go through it at 36, 26. It's always going to be door. And this is I'm gonna stop with this. What we don't understand is we read scriptures like God opens doors that no man can shut.
Hmm.
Do you understand that the man is the door?
That's so good. Yeah.
Now, my question is God asked me this question about
Mhm.
10 years ago. He says, whose door are you? Because we always are looking for an open door. Are we looking to be an open door?
That's really good, Papa.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
And who's knocking at your door? Jesus said, behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man in, I'll come in and I'll sup with him. What form of God's image is knocking at your door? Because when we talk about Jesus knocking, we think spiritual. Jesus is knocking through people.
Always. Doors
Yeah,
and windows of opportunity.
there you go.
Yeah.
And the police don't knock nice. If the knock is loud, you know you in trouble. You coming in. You got some stuff. You got some stuff.
Some shiitake
And
mushrooms
you
going
do
down.
all kind of Chinese food up in there. Girl, let's get out of
Been
here.
rich. It's
You
been good.
already got me here. You got me hung up. This is what she does to me.
It's good. Yeah,
She do
Papa.
this to me.
Papa said, I'm probably not gonna be able to go that long tonight. Oh, I'm a little tired, but you give me a little bit of energy. No, it's been good. It's
I
been
love you,
good.
girl. Hey guys, thank y'all for being here. We're gonna close. I'm gonna let her close it out. Go ahead, boo boo.
No, say your stuff. I'll close out.
Listen, listen. Couple of things I want to say before I go. We're gonna see you guys again real soon.
Yeah.
We've been away for a little bit, had to have some family things and family gatherings. We celebrate family. My family is very close, and we celebrate family. We take our occasions very, very seriously when we do come together.
Listen, what we're doing here, y'all, is about legacy. It's about love. It's about our generations to come. It's about getting the word and information out that will be uplifting to our generations and to our families, to our young people, to our future. And so your love, your support in getting the word out is much appreciated.
Very
When
much
you
so.
like, when you share, when you subscribe to the channel, when you
Please.
circulate these videos, because it's all about love and light.
Right.
And so we love you. God bless you. Love, be loved, and let love. In the meantime and between time, Papa, take care of yourself. And
And your neighbor. And if you got a beautiful daughter like mine, take care of her too. Amen. I love y'all. God
I
bless.
love you, Papa.
Bye bye. Love you too, baby. Bye bye.